Where should you keep your gun at if you have a kid in the house?
Okay, let's go back. How old is your child when you teach your child firearm safety? Okay, let's just say you keep your gun in the safe, right? You can send a little lock box right next to the bed. Okay? Middle of the night, boom, you hear somebody kicking your door in, they're hauling ass to your room, ready to spray you up. How long is it gonna take you to get that gun in the safe? I can leave my gun on the counter if my child already knows firearm safety. Now, go back to my question. How old should a child be before we teach them firearm safety? Garbage. How old were you when your parents taught you not to stick your finger in the light socket, touch the stove, play with knives? You couldn't even talk. Barely could walk. Perfect example. Some stuff you just didn't play with, right? Mommy and daddy taught you look left, look right, look left before you walk across the street. Did you play with traffic? Some shit you just not gonna.
A gun safe manufacturer has recalled 60,000 safes because a 12-year-old boy managed to get into the safe and unfortunately died. But I have a whole lot of questions. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms, NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. And if you like my channel, like my content, and what I do here, you can support me with a link. Everything is appreciated. Let's talk about this. And this is a sad story, but it does raise us a lot of questions. But an Illinois-based safe company called Fortress Safes, obviously they make gun safes, has recalled over 60,000 plus safes because of what they claim is a defect. But I question that defect, and I'm going to show you why in a second. But what happened is it had a biometric safe. Somehow this 12-year-old managed to get into the safe, got a hold of a handgun, and unfortunately has died from a gunshot wound, self-inflicted. The parents are now suing the safe company because they claim that the safe has a defect. Now, for those of you who watch me enough, you know that I spent a lot of years in the gun industry working for different FFLs, and this immediately raised a lot of questions for me. But I'm going to come into here. And now, this is from the Huffington Post, so realize there's going to be a slant in it, but more than 60,000 gun safes recalled after parents of 12-year-old who died filed a lawsuit. More than 60,000 safes were recalled nationwide on Thursday following dozens of reports that unauthorized people could open them, including a 12-year-old boy who died after allegedly accessing a gun inside the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission announced. Illinois-based Fortress Safe recalled 61,000 gun safes after 39 reports that the flaw in the safe's biometric feature made it seem like they were locked for unauthorized users, but actually remained in default to open mode. The recall urged safe owners to immediately stop using the biometric feature and lock the safes with a key instead. It also told customers to contact Fortress Safes for information on how to receive a replacement. Quote, the safes contain a biometric reader that allows unpaired fingerprints to open the safe until a fingerprint is programmed, allowing unauthorized persons, including children, to access hazardous content, including firearms, the company said. Now, I want to talk about that for a second. I sold a ton of safes. I was actually selling safes when the biometric ideal started to become very popular. Now, the safes, Browning and a bunch of other companies, but when the safes come to you with the biometric feature, you have to program it to read the fingerprint. It doesn't come with a default opening code. You have to program it. It has a key for default opening, then you program it with your fingerprint. But the key thing is once you buy the safe, you have to program it to read your fingerprint. You program it so it only opens with specific fingerprints. These safes from Fortress Safe come with a default. So anyone's fingerprint is going to open the safe for you, but you have to reprogram it to only accept specific fingerprints. So did these parents not reprogram the safe, or they're not telling us? So I don't know for sure. This is speculation. Or did they just leave it as is with the default opening code? But Carson Preston, 12, died of a gunshot wound after accessing a gun stored in a Fortress Safe gun safe. His family's lawsuit alleges Fortress Safe said it was aware of a lawsuit filed this year alleging that a 12-year-old Nevada boy, Carson Preston, had died after accessing a gun from one of the company's safes. According to a copy of the lawsuit obtained by Huffington Post, Casey Preston, Carson's father, had purchased the model 44B20 Fortress gun safe in March 2021 from a sporting goods store shelves. On January 28th, the gun safe allegedly failed by allowing Carson, an unauthorized user, to access a handgun inside. According to the lawsuit, the safe was initially shipped in a state that allowed it to be opened with any fingerprint. And that brings me back to my original thought. Did they not reprogram the safe for their fingerprints, for the authorized user's fingerprints, or did they just leave it in that default mode? As a result, Carson sustained a lethal gunshot wound to the head. According to the lawsuit, in a statement to the Huffington Post, Josh Dowling of Claggett and Sykes, the law firm representing the Preston family, said that responsible gun owners should be able to rely on gun safes to protect their families. And well, he's the lawyer for the parents, so he's going to try to use language that holds them accountable. But, quote, our clients experienced every parent's worst nightmare when their son was able to access their firearm because of the defective design of the Fortress gun safe, Dowling said. This recall is an important first step in holding Fortress responsible for placing a defective gun safe on the market. This recall reassures our clients that this was not their fault, and we hope it will prevent this type of tragedy from happening again. The lawsuit also claims that Shields had received reports and complaints from customers and individuals who said the gun safe was defective and that the retailer continued to sell and advertise it. According to court documents obtained by HuffPost, Shields denied these allegations, adding that the gun safe was not in an unreasonably dangerous or defective condition when it was sold. The company has filed a counterclaim against the Preston family, alleging that the child's parents may be responsible for his death and is seeking damages of more than $15,000 as well as attorney fees. A representative of Shields did not respond to HuffPost's request for comment. Fortress Safe declined to comment. Okay, let's come out of that. Now, let's start at the beginning. What's the first thing you should be teaching children when you have a gun in the house? Do not play with firearms, period. That should be first and foremost. Teach your child gun safety, period. Period. And once again, I keep bringing up the same point, but it is very applicable in this situation. Did the parents leave this safe in that default fingerprint mode, or did they use the instructions to reprogram it? After reprogramming it, did the child's fingerprint work? This is something that's going to have to come up in the discovery in this case, because I question this. Now, I've never dealt with Fortress safes. I've never used them, so I can't speak to how this default fingerprint opening code, how it applies, how it works. But I know that every biometric safe has to be programmed to the authorized user's fingerprint. You go through a process to set it up. This is something that, once again, I'm going to have to watch and see how it plays out in the court and what actually happened. Because I'm just not 100% buying that this child just put their finger on and it opened, if the safe had been reprogrammed to take the authorized user's fingerprints. But this is once again, once again, no indictment of the parents, but this is the same thing. If you remember, in Connecticut, we have what they call Ethan's Law. This is named after Ethan Song, who, with a friend, had got access to firearms. These firearms had trigger locks on them, but they figured out how to take them off. These guns were unloaded, but they figured out how to load them. And unfortunately, Ethan Song, self-inflicted gunshot wound, and he died. And the parents immediately rushed out to have a law passed to hold gun owners responsible if this kind of thing were to happen. Once again, you teach your children not to play with guns immediately. You saw the guy in the beginning of this video. At what age were you told to look both ways before you cross the street? That same age, you should be teaching your children if they're firearms. Well, you should be teaching them anyway, because firearms are a reality. People do own them. You should be teaching them, do not play with firearms. If your friend's house and he says, hey, go check out my dad's gun, your child should be taught to say no, no, and the child should remove themselves from that situation. But I like I said, I have a ton of questions about this specific case and this specific safe and how this is going to play out. But bottom line, teach your children about firearms. I'm not telling you to take them to the range. I'm not even telling you to let them handle it, but teach them firearm safety. From the minute they can understand and speak, you should be teaching them firearm safety. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.